Okay team, it's time to take a knee because we're going to tape a knee. Today we're taping the medial collateral ligament, or the MCL. G'day guys and girls, it's Anthony from Grandstand Sports Clinic here again for another taping tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at taping the medial collateral ligament, or the MCL. This is just one of a series of taping technique videos that we're doing to help you learn how to better tape your athletes. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all the latest videos. The medial collateral ligament, or the MCL, is the thick ligament on the inside of your knee that helps to hold your knee stable. It's most commonly injured when an athlete tries to change directions or when they're hit from the side in a tackle. This taping technique is really useful if you want to protect your MCL or for those athletes who are coming back from an MCL injury. This taping technique is just as effective for an LCL or lateral collateral ligament injury, but because they're so much rarer, we'll concentrate on the medial collateral ligament for this taping technique. If you do want to tape the lateral collateral ligament, just keep in mind that you're going to repeat the same taping, except it'll be on the outside of the knee rather than the inside. That being said, let's get started on taping the medial collateral ligament. And remember, if you've got any questions or comments about our taping, just pop them down in the comment section below. Before we start, it's always a good idea to know what you're taping. Here we put the model of the knee side by side with the live subject, so you can actually visualise where the MCL runs and what it looks like. We've drawn an approximation of the medial collateral ligament on our subject, so as we go through the taping, you'll be able to see how the taping covers and supports the medial ligament. When we start our taping, the first thing is to get our taping position right. It's no good taping the knee when it's fully extended, because once the tape's on in this position, it won't give much support in a fully extended knee. To get the correct position, we want to bend the knee to about 15 to 20 degrees, and the easiest way to do this is put an old roll of tape underneath the heel of the athlete. This will produce exactly the right amount of bend for you to tape the knee in. As with all our taping techniques, it's important that we have good anchoring points for all the structural elements of our tape to be adhered to. Here we're going to apply an anchor below and above the knee, making sure we stay clear of the space behind the knee to improve comfort for the athlete. Because we're going to be surrounding the muscular portion of the limb, it's a good idea to use the elastic tape so that the taping has got some give when the muscles contract and relax. Keep in mind that the knee is going to be moving a lot during activity, so the better adherence we get to the skin at this stage, the more effective our taping is going to be. I find that using some Fix-A-Mole strips underneath our taping job will make the tape adhere to the knee so much better. Once the Fix-A-Mole is applied, we can start to apply the structural elements of our tape. To try and recreate the MCL, we're going to use a star-shaped pattern on the inside of the knee. Starting at the front of the knee, we're going to cross over the inside of the knee and finishing on the inner border of the lower leg. Then, starting from the inside of the thigh, again we'll cross over underneath the kneecap and attach just underneath the kneecap. A third strip of tape is going to run vertical, and you can see that we've started to reproduce the shape and the structure of the MCL with the tape that we've put down. We're going to repeat the same pattern again overlapping the tape by half to maximise the strength of our taping. Depending on the size and the strength demands of your athlete, you may repeat this pattern 2 or even 3 times. Once we have these elements in place, we're going to fix them down to our anchors with some rigid tape. Again, try to ensure that the rigid tape doesn't go all the way around the leg so that the athlete's muscles can still expand and contract through the activity. To really shore up your taping job, you can use the EAB bandage or the non-hand tearable elastic bandage. This will give great structural strength to your taping job, and it'll make sure that your taping job ends the game looking like it did when it started. Repeat the crossing pattern with the elastic bandage, and this will really give your tape some structural support and prevent it from tearing during activity. As you know, this elastic bandage is almost impossible to tear, so using it as our last layer will make sure that we have the most tear resistance on our taping job. Again, use some rigid anchors to hold the ends of the tape in place, and then our taping job is complete. Use your hands to get a good bond between the tape and the skin. Now this is a really strong taping technique for the medial collateral ligament, and it's going to be very supportive for the athlete. The athlete will find it hard to bend his knee past 90 degrees and may think the taping's too tight, but given that the tape is going to stretch as the athlete warms up, we tend to find that by the time the athlete's ready to start their competition, the tape has loosened up sufficiently to allow them to have range of motion, yet is still offering the support for the ligament. So there you have a really simple yet strong taping technique for the MCL. The important components of the taping are, firstly, get the athlete in the right position by using an old roll of tape underneath their heel. Secondly, use the asterisk pattern of taping to essentially remodel the medial collateral ligament out of rigid tape. And finally, use the non-hand tearable elastic tape over the top to really strengthen up your taping job and make sure it lasts through a whole game. Again, any questions or comments, put them down in the comments section below. I hope this video has been useful for you. If it has, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and we'll catch up with you in the next taping tutorial.